it's Zadie. Surprised to see me? Yeah, I saw 2 movies this weekend. It was great. It's because they were 2 movies that I actually wanted to see, and I was like, okay, we can work this out, and it did. So I was like, yes, 2 reviews coming out this week. So this weekend I went to see A Star Is Born, starring Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper, also directed by Bradley Cooper and co-written by Bradley Cooper. This was the first movie that I saw this weekend, and if you want to know what the second one was, you will probably want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, because that is, in essence, what I do in my spare time when I'm not filming reviews. Plug. So in essence what this film was, guy meets girl, guy is famous, girl is not, girl starts dating him, she becomes famous, and they're both famous together with all the struggles that come with that. Bradley Cooper stars in this, as I said before, and also Lady Gaga is also the star in this. There are a couple of other people who appear, like a couple of comedians, like this guy, and then there's also Hamilton star Anthony Ramos. I've been releasing a lot of non-spoiler videos lately. This is no different. I won't be talking about any of the spoilers that are in this movie, although lastly I will talk about my likes and dislikes, though it will not have any spoilers in them. Before I get into what I thought about the film, let's talk about ratings. I think that 2018 A Star Is Born is the most recent installment of these movies. Barbra Streisand and Chris Christopherson starred in the first one, and I could see a lot of Chris Christopherson in Bradley Cooper. He totally channeled that guy beautifully, by the way. But A Star Is Born is rated R for language throughout, some sexuality / nudity, and substance abuse. So let's talk about language throughout. This is exactly what it describes it as. I think the MPAA did a good job with this rating because it says language throughout, and it is definitely language throughout. This is a rated R movie, so there are no limitations on what words they can use and how many times they can use them. There were multiple F-bombs, maybe in like every 5 minutes or so there was probably an F-bomb. I'm just estimating here just based on what I remember. A lot of uses of the word crap and all these other things, like, and calling people names and stuff like that. Just know that there's a lot of language throughout, so if you are a person who does not like language, don't watch this movie. Although this film was beautiful in the way that it was performed and the way that it was produced, the language is pretty consistent across the board, and if you're the kind of person who doesn't like that kind of thing, don't watch this movie. Moving on to the second part, which is some sexuality / nudity. The context of this film is that a star is born. Basically, Lady Gaga's character Allie falls in love with this guy named Jack, who's played by Bradley Cooper. The two fall into an intimate relationship, and since this is a rated R film, there is going to be nudity involved. I counted 4 major scenes that there was either nudity or relations involved between the 2 people. There are 2 or 3 scenes where they are having relations with one another, and then there's one scene where she's in the bathtub and she stands up and camera blurs her, but you know, it's still there. Moving on to the substance abuse part, Bradley Cooper plays a guy who is an alcoholic and a drug addict, as most celebrities are, because the pressure of stardom is real, and keeping up with concerts and stuff like that is just kind of like overwhelming, and sometimes people think, oh, I need drugs or alcohol, so they turn to that, and he has a serious problem with that kind of stuff. I personally do not have a lot of trouble watching substance abuse because it's just not real to me, but if you're somebody who has dealt with substance abuse before, like if you, somebody you know, or you were previously an alcoholic or a drug addict, then it kind of triggers you to be like, I can't watch this anymore because it reminds me of times that I was really struggling, then this movie might not be for you. So I'm gonna pull up the frequency chart, and this is pretty easy to rate because of just how frequent these things were, and I'm gonna say it's a 10. It was really frequent and always in your face. If you didn't have substance abuse, you had language, and if you didn't have language, you had sexuality or nudity. If you are a small child, I would recommend not watching this movie. My last scale of rating is gonna be my magical scale of movies, where I rate a movie on a scale of Steamboat Willie to Deadpool on how appropriate this is for younger audiences, and A Star Is Born is pretty easy to evaluate, but also hard at the same time. I could rate it Deadpool, but that doesn't really hit all of the marks. Deadpool hits like everything, and the one thing that A Star Is Born doesn't hit is all the blood and action that happens in Deadpool. Although it's very close to Deadpool, I will not rate it Deadpool. I will rate A Star Is Born as equal to 12 Strong, which is a 9, but it's pretty close to Deadpool, so I'll kind of scooch it over that way for a little bit. Lastly, I'll tell you what I thought about this movie and whether I liked it or disliked it. Putting aside the nudity and language which make me uncomfortable, it was actually really well done. I thought Bradley Cooper did an amazing job just kind of directing it, because this was his directorial debut. or whatever you call that kind of thing. A lot of people are calling out that this is going to win an award, and I think it has a pretty good fighting chance. Granted, it does have other movies that it has to fight up against, but it does stand a chance. I think it could hold its own. Bradley Cooper's performance in this really sells a lot of stuff. Lady Gaga is also an amazing actress. This film really focuses on the two people, which are Allie and Jack. It really focuses around these two people, and all of the like minor characters that are in there, they do an amazing job of the minor characters, but they're not the focal point of this. You get an equal amount of both Jack and Allie in this film. Like, you understand what Jack is going through, you can also see what Allie is going through, and you can see what they're going through together, which is completely different. The realness and genuineness of this film really surprised me, and it made me really happy that I could see their viewpoint. And sometimes you see movies and you're just kind of like, oh, this is just another stereotypical star. I can't relate to this very much. But even though I don't have like stardom like Bradley Cooper or Lady Gaga, I could relate to them and what characters they were playing because of things like cinematography and angles and how they were reacting to things and their acting styles, which was amazing. Some of the camera work was like really shaky, but I could totally see why. Bradley Cooper's character Jack struggles with abuse, so most of his scenes where it's just him alone, like the introductory scene with him on the stage, the camera work is really shaky and you can just follow him because he's making all these jerky movements, and so the camera makes those movements with him, and there's no like stabilizer. There is a stabilizer, but it's not like stabilizing it so it's like really smoothly done or anything like that. The struggles of stardom were very clear in this. They're not like preachy, but like, you know, they show rather than tell, which is really great. I don't have stardom, but I have friends who are in the entertainment industry, and they're like, yeah, this movie does it really well. Excellent production, excellently performed. I would definitely go and see this movie again, probably by myself, because if I recommend this movie to people, they kind of get offended. Question of the week is, do you play an instrument? If so, let me know in the comments down below. Do you play piano? Do you play ukulele? Do you play the trumpet? What is it? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the other side of the screen. Bye!